Thank you for tuning in to the Ultimate Coach podcast, a companion to the transformative book, The Ultimate Coach, written by Amy Hardison and Alan D. Thompson. Each conversation is designed to be a powerful wake-up call, reminding us of what's possible for you and your life. So if you're on a journey to expand your state of being, this podcast is for you.
Are you ready to uncover powerful insights on finding purpose and embracing life's challenges with resilience and grace? In this episode of the Ultimate Coach podcast, I have the pleasure of welcoming David Walsh. David is a successful entrepreneur, investor, and author whose journey of transformation is a testament to the power of finding deeper meaning, even through life's most profound challenges. Today, we will explore the lessons, experiences, and wisdom that have shaped his mission to inspire others to live with intention, turn pain into purpose, and view life through a lens of possibility. David, it's truly a joy to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
It's not a surprise that I want to start with the profound event that changed your life. Could you please tell us about it?
Yeah. Well, before I get into the profound event, I'll give a bit of a foundation. So 2006, I land in Tampa. I'm doing a NLP course. And as I'm waiting for some friends, someone else who was on that course walks towards us. And she goes, "Hello, my name's Lena." And I looked at her and said, she looks interesting. And I could see by the look on her face that she was looking me up and down and going, he's an arrogant little beep. So that was our first meeting. And we were 2 weeks in Tampa. And during that 2 weeks, we learned more about each other. Lena was the type of person who didn't do quantity, she did quality. So she talked to very few people out of the 24, I think, were there. She talked to probably about 6. And I was one of those 6. It was evident in the second week we were there when I just finished talking to Lena and one of the guys came up to me and says, "Who's that you're talking to?" And I said, "That's Lena." And is she in our group? And I went, "Yeah, she's been here for the 2 weeks." So she was a person who wasn't a social butterfly, put it that way. So she did quality rather than quantity. Now, at the time, we found out that we actually live literally less than a mile away from each other in North London. Yeah. So we had to travel 4,500 miles to meet each other. And the funny thing is that we probably passed each other on the street and we would have never even noticed one another. So yeah, fate brought us all the way over to Florida to meet. And fate was definitely looking out for me then, because at the time I was living in London, but I was moving back to Ireland. And I had given up my flat, so I was technically homeless. All my stuff was in storage and I had nowhere to live. And I actually had planned to stay with a friend of mine, but that friend was in New York. He was getting treatment for his girlfriend at the time who had Lyme disease. And back then, New York was the only place in the world that had a treatment for it. So I was texting, I was emailing, I was calling him every day going, "Hey, am I still okay to stay with you?" Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So it was panic stations at the end of the 2 weeks. And I said, well, I've got to ask Lena, can I stay with her? So we're on the flight. We're both on an aisle seat. She's literally in front of me. And I'm going, I've got to ask Lena. I've got to ask Lena. I've got to ask Lena. So totally bottled it. Couldn't pick up the courage to ask her. Then we got to Gatwick Airport, got to the carousel. And I says, I've got to ask Lena. I've got to ask Lena. I've got to ask, can I stay with her? Can I stay with her? So kept procrastinating, couldn't pick up the courage till eventually both our bags arrived and we had our bags. And Lena turned round to me and said, Great to meet you. Look forward to seeing you again soon. And I said, it's now or never. If I don't ask now, I'm screwed. So I said, well, I'm sort of meant to stay with a friend tonight and I just can't get hold of him. Is it okay if I sit on your sofa for a few hours while I get in contact with him? And I could see her brain was like, oh my God, what's this Irish guy asking me to do? I don't really know him. I've only met him 2 weeks ago. And all of these things were computing in her head. And she went, okay, like this, like totally unsure. So I said, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I'll get hold of him and I'll be out of your hair. So we got back to her place and parked my bags in the hallway because I wasn't staying the night, and sat down on the sofa, got the obligatory cup of tea, all the rest, had a chat, all the rest. And again, I'm emailing and I'm texting and I'm calling and I'm doing everything I can and not a sausage out of my friend. So it came to it, says, do you mind if I sleep on your sofa tonight? And I'm already in the door. So she goes, yeah, okay, here you go. So a few hours turned into a few days, and a few days turned into a few weeks. I never got hold of my friend till one day I was sitting on her sofa, a lovely olive green sofa, and as I was getting up, my back went like that, and I couldn't move. So it's about a week or so into sleeping on her sofa. I couldn't move. I was gone. I literally couldn't do anything. So she goes, wait, okay, you take my bed. You can't sleep on the sofa. You take my bed, all of this. So she put an air mattress on her bed, so it was really high. So that was another 2 weeks. Lena took care of me in her own house, in her bed. So it went from a few hours literally to her nursing me over a number of weeks, till eventually I got better and I moved back to Ireland. But it didn't end there. I was working with my dad at the time, and every once in a while I would hear, hello, 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 are you calling me again? Hello. And it was my phone, but dialing Lena. So the universe is going, you're not finished. You're not finished. So every once in a while, like at least once a week, maybe twice, 3 times a week, I'd butt dial Lena and we'd have a conversation. And at that time, things were beginning to pick up for my UK business. So literally 6 months later, I was speaking at an event in London and I made the decision to move back. Everything was going great, so I decided to move back. So who do I call? Lena had sold her flat and was now in a 2-bed. She was renting a 2-bed apartment. And I said, hey, do you mind if I stay at yours? She goes, I've got a spare bedroom. You've no problem. There's one thing though, the landlord, the contract states that you can only stay for 2 weeks. And it says, fine, I'll stay for 2 weeks. I can go see a friend for a weekend and then come back. And so that's what we did. I had the spare bedroom and Lena had her room and stuff like that, and I would disappear. But the landlord lived next door. So he could see me coming and going every day. And it got to the point when the contract was up, they said, look, we know David's living there. We have no problem. He seems like a nice guy. We'll just put him on the contract. So everything was above board. So over that time, Lena and I grew closer. Like we were both seeing different people, but we never mixed. I didn't meet her people, who she was seeing. She never met who I saw. She knew about them, but she never met them. But over time, we began to get closer. Like irrespective of what happened to me with various girlfriends or whatever, we got closer till it was 2009. I was seeing a girl in Turkey, funnily enough, and I was in Izmir for my birthday, and she texts me going, how's your birthday going? And I just text back and says, not great. I says, I would rather be spending it with you. And so she texts me back going, look, you're with your girlfriend. I think it's better that you focus there. So I went, okay. But these feelings were growing for Lena at the time. And I came back. I went to Ibiza, which is an island in the Mediterranean. and I was working with a client, came back, and Lena and I went for a walk. I'm sharing with her that, I think I'm falling for you, that sort of thing. And we got home and I said to her, look, I want to be with you. And she said, well, why should we be together? And I said, well, if we don't take a chance on us now, we never will. And so that was all she needed to know. Then we were an item from then. So from about May 2009, like a year, 2.5 years after we first met, we got together. So that was the beginning of our relationship. And then in 2021, we got married. I had proposed to her a couple of years before. And what we found out after we got engaged is that both our parents got married on March 30th. We didn't even know this till we found out Lena's parents got married on March 30th and my parents got married on March 30th. So we said, well, there's only one date we can get married, and that's March 30th. So each year would come and go, but we never had enough money to get married. Till I set a goal in November 2020. I said, I want to, I hit 10K in my business. Business is doing great. I was bringing Lena into the business as well. She worked in the fashion industry and I wasn't happy the way they were treating her. So I brought her into the business and I set a goal that I want to double my business in the next 12 months. So fairly bog standard goal, 2x income in 12 months. I achieved it in 2. So I went from 10K to 20K in 2 months per month. And I woke up, I remember it like it was yesterday. I woke up February 5th. It was 8:05 in the morning. I said, we can get married. The money was in the bank account. Things were going well. And I realized we can get married. So I ran downstairs and Lena was having her cereal on the sofa. And I said, hey, honey, do you want to get married this year? And she looked at me like, are you mad? Because we knew there was 7 weeks to go to get married if we wanted to get married on March 30th, or else we'd have to wait another 12 months. She goes, okay, so if I show up and you take care of everything, and I went, fine, done, no problem, you do that, leave it with me. Because I knew then, I was like, I'm one of those people that once I put my mind to it, that's it, it's done. Consider it done. So once we started investigating actually how to get married, we found out that most of the countries in Europe you needed a 3 months notice to get a marriage license. So that was pretty much almost every country. We're thinking about getting married in Italy and stuff, but it was like, no, we couldn't. So Lena did a Google search, places to get married in less than 2 months. And she found a place called Guernsey, which is between England and France in the Channel Islands. So I contacted them and we booked the date, March 30th, 2 p.m. We were going to get married in the Parliament of Guernsey. But what happened is that the information they gave me was wrong to what I needed to do. So 2 weeks before we were to go, I get a phone call. She goes, hello. And I says, hello, is that Mr. Walsh? She went, yes. I says, hi, this is Guernsey here. Where are you? I said, I'm at home. She says, you realize you can't get married? I said, excuse me? I says, you can't get married. What do you mean? It says, well, you have to live, the rules were you have to live on the island for a week, wait a week, and then get married. But the lady told me, he says, you live on the island for a week, wait a day, and then you can get married. So I had calculated 8 days for our marriage in Guernsey. She goes, no. I says, it's you wait a week, live on the island for a week, wait a week, and then you can get married. So long story short, there's a whole thing about that whole story. I won't spoil it for you, but long story short, they found out that we could get married on the island next door, a little island called Sark. It's literally about this big. You could put it in your pocket. So we could get married on Sark because you only needed to live on the island for 5 days and you can get married the next day. So we were back on schedule. Everything we had planned, because we had planned a ferry to Guernsey. Everything was sorted. And on March 30th, Lena and I got married in the most magical dream wedding ever. So that's a brief, I think he gave me a couple of minutes, but yeah, it's probably a bit over. But that's a brief story of our history together.
And then what happened?
Well, we were working very well in the business. We were growing it very nicely. Lena was taking up the areas that I wasn't strong in, and I was doing the areas she wasn't strong in. So we were growing our business very nicely till 2021. The third bout of cancer attacked Lena, and she got very, very ill. It was, even at the beginning of 2021, I wasn't sure that she would make it to our second anniversary. So that even on Valentine's Day, I said, I want to give you an anniversary card. She goes, no, give it to me on our anniversary. And I went, okay. But things came to a head in August 2021. She got really, really bad. Her cancerous mass was growing every day. And it got really bad that I said to her, you have to go to hospital. Ireland had just come out of lockdown. So this was the first time I was able to travel back to see my mum in 18 months. So end of August, beginning of September, I traveled over to Ireland and I said to Lena, if you get any sick, you have to go to the hospital. Simple as. And her sister was living with us at the time, Julia. And I said, you have my permission to drag her kicking and screaming to the hospital. You put her in a taxi and you get to the hospital if she gets worse. And Lena, very strong personality, wasn't going to be spoken to like that. And I just said to her, look, if you don't do it, I'm hopping on the next plane back and I will take you myself. And she knew I was serious because she knew I would do it. So she went in on the following Friday, the beginning of September, and I was getting updates and I flew back on the following Monday and I got home, put my bags in straight into the hospital. When I went to find her, I couldn't find her in the ward. I said to the nurse, where would I find Lena Georgiadis? And she said, bed 26 around there. And I was looking at bed 26 and going, why is there a 90-year-old woman in my wife's bed? And I'm looking around going, where's Lena? I'm in the right ward. I'm in the right ward, bed 26. Where is she? And then I realized that was actually Lena and that she had aged 20 years, 30 years in a week since I hadn't seen her. And tears streamed down my face. And she was asleep, thankfully. And I could see her, she was waking up. So I quickly wiped the tears away from my eyes. And she said, oh, what's wrong, honey? I said, nothing. Don't worry about it. So I said, what did the doctor say? She goes, well, it's more what he didn't say. I said, I gathered from what he's not telling me is that there's nothing they can do. And I went, okay. But we're the type of people that we're going, that's not the end. We're fighters. We don't care what anyone else says. It's what we think and what we believe. So doctor came round and Lena said to him, so doc, what's the diagnosis? And again, he said nothing. She went, look, you can tell me straight. There's no point in beating around the bush. Just tell me. And he goes, well, there is literally nothing we can do. The best thing we can do is to send you home. There's nothing we can do in this hospital. And as soon as the doctor left, I said, honey, I'm taking you home to live because they don't think you will. They didn't even expect her to last the weekend. So this was the Monday. They didn't even expect her to survive past Saturday. And they said, right, Friday, I'll arrange for an ambulance to bring you home. It says, no problem, I'll be here. I'll go home with you. So I said, honey, I'm bringing you home to live. And again, they didn't expect her to last that following weekend. 5.5 weeks later, unfortunately, Lena did pass away. And during that time, we were just focused on one thing. How can we get Lena back to full health? I even asked the doctors and the nurses that were coming to her house every single day, what do we need to do to get Lena back to health? And they were looking at me like I had sprouted 26 heads. And going, looking at it, it's like, she's going to die. And we're going, we don't accept that. We don't accept that. We are fighting every single day. And that's what Lena said to me. Is that, honey, I am fighting this as much as I can. I says, yes, honey, and I'm with you every step of the way.
Wow. Oh, it is such a touching, loving, and powerful story. Thank you so much for sharing it with me and with the audience of this podcast. So I know that you turned this profound pain into purpose in your life.
Absolutely.
So I want to ask you, how did the loss of your beloved wife led you to this mission of helping others find their purpose, especially after significant life-altering events?
As soon as I realized Lena took her last breath, literally a switch was flipped in me. I knew it. Like that split second, Lena had passed. Like I was a totally different person. And I knew I was different. I knew I was not that same person that I was literally a couple of minutes before. And Lena and I had so many dreams. We had our whole life planned out. We knew exactly what we were going to do. We were going to live in different countries. We were going to grow our business. We were going to have many adventures together. But that all came crashing down as soon as Lena took her last breath. And a few days afterwards, I asked myself, what the F am I here for? Because I knew it wasn't like I had a YouTube consultancy at the time, and I was helping businesses grow their YouTube channels for the business. And I knew I am not here to help people grow YouTube channels. That's not what I'm here for. There's a bigger thing here, because I'm not going through this massive loss right now just to continue doing the same thing. And when I asked myself that question, I got an answer, and I got it straight away. And it says, you're to inspire 1 billion people. And I went, okay, so something small then. And me being the cheeky me that I am, says, okay, so how am I meant to do that then? Thinking I'm Mr. YouTube, so I can do it on YouTube and socials and whatever. It says, oh, live on stage. And I went, crap. Okay, so the easy way then, I thought. So I went, okay, so of course, being human, I jumped into it. Well, no, I didn't. So I parked it because I had a business to run. And I thought, yeah, I'll get round to that purpose thing at some point when it's convenient. So 12 months passed, and this thing was in the back of my mind, and it was growing, and it was festering, and it was like, hello, I'm still here. Hello. And every once in a while I go, oh yeah, got to do that thing. Got to do that thing about inspiring 1 billion people. Yeah. Got to do that. And then it's like, oh yeah, I've got a client I've got to take. Till December 2022, it said, enough is enough. That's it. I'm not putting up with being ignored anymore. And it got so uncomfortable to ignore it. I said, I have to do something about this. I have to do it. So I took the decision to close my YouTube consultancy. I refunded a metric boatload of money to clients because I said, this purpose is far too big for me to just ignore it anymore. I've got to go ahead and I've got to follow this mission. So clients that had paid me for 12 months up front and I'd already worked with them for 8 or 9 months, I refunded them all their money. Other clients who were paying monthly, I said, here's your money back. I don't want you to feel like you owe me a thing. I've got this mission and I'm going to do it. So that was it. That business closed down. So I said, okay, I've got my mission. What do I do now? And I went, okay. So I looked at what I could build a business around the mission. I created one business that fell flat in its face. A couple of months later, I said, okay, I could do this. That would be sort of following the mission. That fell flat in the face. So September 2022, I had two businesses, didn't go anywhere, went absolutely nowhere. And I'm going, what is it about these that they didn't take off? And I was like, I'm following the money. I was looking for the money rather than the mission. I went, okay. But I was still no closer. You know, I was living on savings and stuff, and things began to get stressful. Till it got to the point where I was going, I don't know what to do. I was completely overwhelmed. I had no more business ideas in my head. And I was going, I don't know what to do. And I remember I was literally on the sofa crying I was bawling my eyes out, going, honey, like those who? And across from me, beside the TV, was a picture of Lena. And I just said to her, honey, I don't know what to do. Give me a sign. And I'm totally overwhelmed, not a clue what's going to happen. And at the time, I was watching Ted Lasso. Now, if anyone knows Ted Lasso, it's an American football coach who goes to England, to the Premiership, to coach a football team or soccer team, as you call it in America. And sure enough, Lena being Lena, she gave me an answer. It was an episode where the team that Ted is coaching were losing 2-0 at halftime, and they're in the dressing room at halftime. And Ted gives an inspirational speech. And Ted, at the very first episode, writes a handwritten sign and he places it above the door in the dressing room. And at the end of that particular scene, all the players go up to the sign and they put their hand on that big yellow sign. And the word on that sign said, believe. And I was like, okay, honey, right, believe. Okay. Right, I got it. Okay, now believe. I was still no closer, but I was just like, okay, believe. I've got that. I got the sign, which was an actual sign. So I got that. Then 2 days later, a friend of mine texts me, says, Lena came to me in a dream last night. And I went, okay, here we go. Yeah, she told me to watch a film that I used to watch when I was young called The Land That Time Forgot. It's a 1993 animated film about dinosaurs. So I got access to the film and I'm watching it going, okay, Lena's given me this particular movie to watch. There's a message in here somewhere. And I'm going, okay. So I'm watching the movie and you know, the young dinosaurs get separated from their parents. You know, they're two dinosaurs that don't get on with each other, blah, 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 your usual antagonistic story. And so they're on their journey to try and find their parents again. Then it hit me. It was the theme of the movie. And one little dinosaur said to the other little dinosaur, she says, my mama always told me, follow your heart, and you'll always find your way home. And I went, holy crap. So I went, fine. Okay, so I had believe, and follow your heart and you'll find your way. You'll always find your way home. And I went, okay. So that was at that point I'd realized the previous businesses had been focused on the money. Now I needed to focus on what my purpose was and doing that, and the money will come. And I went, okay. So a few weeks later I was going, what have I done in my life that people would be interested in? And then I went back to, well, I created an amazing wedding. I doubled our business in 2 months. I also, when I moved over to the UK, I did that in 2 months. I tripled my salary and had a car paid for. I had a accommodation paid for a month. I was flown to Seattle for 2 weeks. All of these things. And I said, I wonder if somebody would be interested to find out how I did that. So I put up a post on Facebook going, who would be interested in looking for some business owners who are looking to achieve 10x goals. I got 15 people apply, worked with 10. I found that what I had done was actually replicatable and that I was able to teach people to do it. And in doing so, I was able to help. I was inspiring that, not only inspiring them, but that was helping inspire other people too, to unlock their greatness and to basically live the life that they wanted. So out of that grew my business Impossible Goals. Now I'm growing that to help more and more people across the world to unlock their greatness.
Well, you're a great storyteller, David. Let me give you that. you made me cry a few times throughout this.
Well, I made myself cry too.
Yeah, it's so emotional and so loving. Thank you for sharing all of that. And I am a big fan of Ted Lasso show too. I got so much from that too. But there's also a book that you have written, right? I want you to tell us about the book too, a little bit.
Yeah, so the book is called Thank You, I Love You, and I've got a little short story about that. When I was caring for Lena in her last 5.5 weeks at home, Lena's the sort of person who doesn't like to be made a fuss of. And so it was difficult for her to accept people having to take care of her. So every day she would say to me, honey, I'm sorry. And I knew I had to change her mindset, and I had to change it very quickly, because her fight wasn't with me or people who were taking care of her. Her fight was with the cancer. And I wanted her to focus all of her energy on that. So I was going, what can I do? Like this quickly, I was going, what can I do? So I said, honey. I said, I should go, what? I says, we don't do sorry here. And she looks at me. I says, what do we do? I says, we do. What do we say? And she goes, thank you. I love you. I says, yes, honey. We do love and gratitude here. We don't do sorry. I said, honey, thank you. I love you too. And I was actually thanking her and loving her just as much as she was with me, because I was learning so much. Like, I had to step up as a husband. I had to step up as her protector. I had to step up as the person who was literally taking care of her when she couldn't take care of herself. And my growth in those 5.5 weeks was massive. It was literally exponential. Went in as, and what it came out as, were two very different men. And so I was thanking her every single day for the lessons she was teaching me. And she was thanking me every single day for being there for her and being her rock. And that's why I called the book, Thank You, I Love You. Now, how the book came about, shortly after Lena had passed, our friend who had dreamt, who Lena had came to during her dream, had came to her after she passed. And she goes, you have to get the book out. I says, you have to get the book. And I go, what bloody book? I have no idea about a book. What book? And I'm going, is it a YouTube book? Is it a this? Is it a business? And I'm going, what book am I to get out? But January 2022, I just got this feeling, I have to write Lena's story. I have to write Lena's story. And so I said, right, I'll spend an hour in the morning, and I'll just write up story after story after story. So I said, I'd give myself, if I write 1,000 words in the morning, fine, that's enough. I can put it away and then get back to doing my day job. Now, what I quickly found is that I would spend 1, 2, 3 hours, and I am just writing, and I'm writing, and I felt like it was one of the Muppets, and my hand was just like going non-stop. And I'm thinking, oh, that's a good story. And then that would be another one. And then another story would come, and another story would come, and another story would come. And within, I'd say 4 months, 5 months, I had the majority of the book written. And I don't even remember a bit of it. I was completely in flow. It was a cross between being in flow and Lena channeling the book through my fingers. It was like she had control of my fingers, and everything was just coming up into the document. So that was there. And then I was working on some stuff. Then I got working on the impossible goals. So I got parked to one side till June last year, when they had the BU event in Birmingham. So the wonderful Eric and Julie were on the way to the event. Eric Thorson were on the way and said, hey, we're coming through Dublin. Do you fancy meeting up for the day? And I says, sure, let me know when you're coming in. So they were landing on the Wednesday. And I forgot all about it till the Monday. And he goes, oh yeah, we're coming on Wednesday. And I said, well, you're in luck because my whole day is free. So I said, yeah, we can meet up. So Eric said to me, he says, we're going to this event. Didn't tell me anything about it. We'd like to invite you. What are you doing on the weekend? And I'm going, it's a bit short notice, isn't it? You know, so I looked at the calendar. It wasn't happening. It's like I wanted to go, but it wasn't happening. So he says, look, we'll buy you a ticket. And you just get over there. You can stay with us. We've got an Airbnb or whatever. And I says, okay. So I sort of checked in and says, am I going to the event? Yes. Okay. But why can't I go? And I said, because every time I checked for a flight on the Saturday, I couldn't get a flight. All flights were booked. Nothing was available. I'm going, what is it? And I was checking in again. Am I going to the event? Yes. Okay. But why can't I get a flight on the Saturday? And so, then I sort of asked again, am I going to the event? Yes. Am I to go on the Sunday? And I got a yes. And all of a sudden, when I changed my flight from Saturday to Sunday, everything was available. So there was a reason I wasn't meant to go on the first day, but I arrived there at the BU event in Birmingham on the Sunday. And Eric had set it up that I would have a meeting with Steve Hardison. So I had the book in the back of my mind. I had no expectation of the meeting or whatever. And so we got round to talk about the book. And he goes, tell me about the book. So I gave him a brief overview. I told him about the story about Thank You, I Love You and how the title came about. And he goes, you have to publish it. I went, crap. He says, how could you send me a copy? And I went, well, I've got 4 chapters to finish and then I can send it to you. He goes, right, here's my email address. Here's my phone number. Send it to me. Text me when it's done and let me know you've emailed it to me. And I went, okay. So I'm like, right, I'm under pressure now to get this thing done. So as soon as I got back from Birmingham, I'm like, I've got to get it finished. So wrote the next 4 chapters, read it through a couple of times, made sure there was as many typos taken out as possible, that it was legible at least, that somebody could understand it, and emailed it off to Steve. 2 weeks later, he goes, you have to get this out in the world. You have to get this out in the world. Let me know how it can help. So decision was made, and I was looking at a date, and I said, well, Lena's 3rd anniversary of her passing was coming up. I think that would be the good date to release the book. So did everything I could. It was like going hell for leather, but we launched the book on October 10th last year, and here it is in the flesh.
It's beautiful, beautiful. And it is an amazing testament to your commitment to your late wife, beautiful wife, and to your purpose, really.
Yeah, because like this is part of that too. It's to, it's not just a book about Lena and I. It's actually a book about helping you overcoming a tragedy in your life and how you can turn that around into a triumph like I did. Like when Lena took her last breath, my world literally collapsed. I had no idea what to do. I was sobbing. I was crying. This is the first time I'd lost a wife, so it's not something you learn in school or anything. So it's like, I had no clue. Everything that I believed in and had thought was going to happen had just evaporated in an instant. And so being able to take that and being able to take the unconditional love that Lena was teaching me to experience and teaching me to give her when she was ill was that thing that flipped it around. And then understanding why Lena died the way she did also gave that purpose too as well, that it was her plan to die the way she did, because she had the strength to take on the cancer, not just once, not twice, but 3 times, and to take on the suffering that the cancer was going to cause her. And I had the strength and resilience and endurance to be able to take that life-altering moment and then be able to turn that into something good.
using it as an inspiration.
Absolutely. Every single day. Every single day, guy, because I know that Lena did not die in vain. It was her plan. This is what she took on for the world. And that it's my purpose to use that and to share that and to help others with that every single day.
Yeah, I believe, David, every adversity, every heartache comes with 3 gifts. One is knowledge, learning from that experience. Second is power, making us stronger, more resilient. And the third is inspiration, to pass it along to others. And I see that everything you experienced gave you all those 3 gifts. And that came through your beautiful wife, Lena.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I want to ask you something that I would like you to share with the business owners and entrepreneurs. What advice would you offer to someone who feels stuck, overwhelmed, or disconnected from their deeper purpose, deeper why?
Great question. Great question. And funnily enough, I've been working with a number of people who were in exactly that same situation. And that's where I was too. And the thing is, it's about reconnecting with that little voice that's been inside of you, probably since you were a child, about this thing that you really, 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 really want to do, but you are so scared of bringing that out to the world that people will not like you for, or people will just run away from you. It's this thing that you're most scared of is the thing that you're here to do. And this is why even though I ignored shutting down my business for 12 months, it got to the point where it was not going to be ignored anymore. It says, you have this thing you have to do. And people who are stuck are the same. They're focused on a thing over here which they think they've to do, but in fact, it's probably over here, or it even could be right beside it. It could be just minor shift to realize, oh, it's this little thing here, not this big thing over here. But that minor shift will give not just their purpose, but fulfillment too. Because when you are able to take something that you want to do yourself, where you want to have that autonomy to do, and you share that with other people, and because everybody has this gift inside them that can help other people. And when you're able to, as I said, have that autonomy to not only share the gift, but express that gift that you have, and then be able to help other people with that gift, irrespective of whether it is 10 people or 10 million. It's not about the quantity, it's about the quality of your gift. You could help 10 people that will help 100 million people. That's 1 billion people right there. It's not about the quantity, it's about the value of your gift. And everyone's value is going to be different in different areas. Some people are going to help more people, some people are going to help less. It's not about the quantity. But you have this gift. And when you can tap into those and help those people that your gift is to help, that's when you will have the most amazing fulfillment ever, because you are fulfilling what you have been put on this planet to do.
You're preaching to the choir, David, because what I believe is people are like icebergs. The tip of the iceberg is what we see.
Yeah.
But the potential they have is what we don't see under the water.
Absolutely. And it's that thing that we hide is the thing we've actually to show. That the thing that we're showing, we think the world wants to see and stuff like this. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Because when you can show that real you, that authentic you, those people who have that facade too are going, oh, thank God. I wanted to do the exact same thing, but I felt I couldn't. So you give people permission to be themselves too. Because in the world where everyone looks gorgeous on Instagram and everything's filtered, blah, 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 and Botox to the nines, when you can turn around and go, I don't need any of that. I'm being me, sharing me with the people who want to be around me. I don't need 100 million followers or 1 billion followers on Instagram to feel that I have worth. It could be 10 people, it could be 10 million. It doesn't make a difference. I know my true value. I know who I can help. I know who my tribe is. I know who are the people I love to be with, and I know who I don't love to be with too. And when you can step up and go, I own that. That is me. Then everyone else will be jealous because you're doing what they want to do, but they feel they can't.
Yeah, because you are in your element. You are in flow, as you said.
Exactly. You are you. You are that raw thing that no one can do anything to. Like when I lost Lena, I realized I was one of the most dangerous people on the planet because I had lost everything. No one could take anything else away from me then. And I says, I have an opportunity now to build the world the way I want it because I literally have nothing. Nothing. My heart was ripped out. My life didn't seem like it was worth living for till I realized I now have this ember. This ember is left. That love that Lena left me with and I still have today. I have that. And that little ember is what turns you into the phoenix. And that's what turns your life around from being utter nothing to the world and the universe that you want to create and live in.
Oh, beautiful. So now I want to ask you my signature question.
Ooh.
Yes. So on the Ultimate Coach book, as you know, there are some questions on the back of the book and on the first part before you begin section. So when you look at those questions, which one resonates with you the most at this point in your life and why?
The question that always comes back to me, especially when you get stuck, is who do you want to be? What is your identity? Who do you want to be in the world? And that one always comes back, because a couple of weeks ago, I was in a stuck state and I was like, going around, what am I doing? I hit this barrier and it just had me confounded. But then it was like talking with some friends and it just brought me back to who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? And it's like, oh my God, dog. What is your identity? What is that thing that you aspire to be? Because I knew I wasn't doing it, but I have every potential to be that person. Then I recognized, well, I'm actually 98% of the way there, but I just don't realize it. But when you pull it back to no matter when you're in a good state, bad state, or whatever, waking up every day and asking yourself, who do you want to be?
Yes, and who you are being is everything.
Absolutely. Every single day. Every single day. And when I'm working with clients, that's the one thing. It's like, oh, I can't do this and I can't. Well, what do you want to do? Who is that person you want to be? Oh, I'd like to do this. Well, why don't you do that then? Oh, yeah. It's a simple question, but it is sometimes one of the most difficult ones to answer.
Difficult and powerful at the same time.
Absolutely. And I thank those people around me who keep bringing me back to that question when I'm stuck. Okay, well, who do you want to be? I was like, oh, grab you. I've forgotten again. When things get really tough, it's like everything goes out the window. It's like, back to who do we want to be? Yeah, okay, yeah, all right, gotcha.
Yes. Okay, now my rapid fire questions.
Okay.
The first one, if you could capture your wife's impact on your life in one word, what would it be?
Love.
That's so sweet.
All day long. Only one word.
Okay, second question. What is one practice or habit that helps you stay connected to your purpose?
Oh, great question. It actually is to write down who I want to be. And recently, I've actually started to write down my intention for the day too, because I look at what's my long-term goal, but what's my more immediate one? What do I want to get out of today? And so I write down my intention on my planner for the day, and also to be thankful. Gratitude journal is an amazing tool. Just a simple page, and ask yourself, what are 3 things you're grateful for today? Simple, but so powerful.
It is. Journaling, writing, it's always so helpful, impactful, and motivating too.
Absolutely. And in this day and age of mental health and stuff, for me, it's one of the things to just get the stuff out. And when you look back, you can look at the pattern of, oh, I was a bit low here. Oh, this is what I was thinking. Oh, I was a bit low over here. This is what I was, oh, there's a similarity and stuff like that. And you can begin to recognize why, what are the triggers that put you into that? And I've understood it's sugar. For me, when I'm on a serious sugar binge, whether it's stress or travel or whatever, that I get very low thoughts. So I was like, oh, interesting. So minimize my sugar intake, especially when I'm traveling and stuff, and I won't have major downs and stuff like that.
So interesting. My word this year in 2025 is awareness.
Nice.
You see, by doing that, by keeping a journal, a diary, you raised your awareness around what triggers what for you. Exactly.
I've now extended that to other areas. So it's like I'm keeping track of different metrics, like how, on a scale of 1 to 10, how am I feeling at the beginning of the day? How I'm feeling at the end of the day? How am I feeling mentally, physically, that sort of thing, emotionally? And I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like in a couple of months. So like, okay, here was a great month, but okay, this week over here wasn't so great. What was happening? And then I can tie back, because I'm tracking my diet too. So I said, oh yeah, I was traveling. Oh yeah, hotel food. Oh yeah, I can see. Yeah, gotcha. Jet lag. Okay, yeah. So yeah, it's again, as you say, it's having that awareness of what are those internal and external things that are affecting us and the way we're living.
Absolutely. Okay, my third and last question. Your music preference for work. Do you listen to music while working?
Every day.
If so, what kind?
Okay, so it depends on what I'm doing. So if I'm cooking, then it's Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin. So I'm literally shouting at the top of my voice, singing along to Good Old Blue Eyes. When I'm in the gym, then it's 90s dance music, without a shadow of a doubt. So yeah, all those hits that we enjoyed clubbing in the 90s, I'm getting sweaty and pumping lots of iron with them beating in the background.
Yeah, I so love that kind of like Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, all those era.
It's perfect music, whether I'm cooking or baking or anything in the kitchen where I'm making food, it's on straight away. Straight away, that's my go-to.
That's beautiful. Unforgettables. For me and my husband, when we cook, we like to dance. So always it's Latino music.
Nice. That's it. Salsa around the table. Perfect.
Well, David, thank you. Thank you so much for everything you shared, for your vulnerability, for your stories. We are at the end of this episode.
Oh, already?
Yes. It was lovely, but...
Since we just started.
It seems like it, right? But your story reminds me, and I believe anyone who has been listening to you, that even in the most challenging moments, there is an opportunity to find deeper meaning and purpose. It seems like through the loss of your wife, you discovered a mission to guide others on their journey of healing, transformation, and creating a life of impact. So I thank you so much on behalf of all our listeners for sharing your wisdom, vulnerability, and inspiring journey with us today. Until next time, keep stepping into the best version of who you are being, our dear listeners. Take care and see you on the next episode. Thank you, David.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us today. If there's someone you know who could benefit from this conversation, please share this episode with them. Also, check out our website, beingmovement.com. You'll find valuable resources and links to connect to an engaging and wonderfully supportive community. Together, we can inspire and support each other on the path to a greater understanding of being. Until next time, take care and be kind to yourself.